welcome to another one of my videos. Again, this is on the Rover 75. I would like to do a wee driving video, and when we're driving along, thought I would do a wee buyer's guide as well, because I've looked around online, on YouTube, haven't really seen many vocal buyer's guides, so I thought I would do one. Just tell you a bit about the car and tell you a bit about a few things to look for if you're buying one. So currently we're in Tesco's. I've got a day off work and I've just been to do some shopping, so quite mundane. However, I find that sitting in this car, taking it to shops, whatever, makes it a little bit more pleasant, because as you can see, it really is a nice place to sit, even for a basic spec car. So let's go. Late November now, so the sun's quite low, but quite a nice day. 3 Celsius. Toasty warm. Even though this car doesn't have heated seats, I find you don't really need them, because the cloth seats are so plush and they're really soft. They're never cold, so I don't really miss it. I think that's only a necessity if you've got one with leather seats. So Rover 75, it was launched to the press, the public, in October 1998, and first few cars, mainly sort of press cars, pre-production, what like, they were released early 1999. Any Rover 75s on an S plate now are pretty sought after by collectors. Three trim levels were available initially. There was the Classic, which is this. There was the Club and the Connoisseur. So the Classic still came with the wood dash, didn't have air conditioning, didn't have alloy wheels, plastic wheel trims. The Classic SE added alloys and air conditioning, which is what this car has. Club added fog lights and climate control, and the Connoisseur added leather seats, various other bits and bobs. The Connoisseur SE added even more stuff, so you got your rear sun blind, automatic rear sun blind, which my last 75 had, which was fantastic. You got cruise control. There's a driver intelligence pack as well, which mine had, which is rain sensitive wipers, auto dimming mirror, and the rear parking sensors. But there was a whole multitude of things that you could add to your Rover 75, various personal line interior options, powerful mirrors, lots of different wheel tyre combinations, and there was also, later on in the production, 2001, the MG-ZT was released. Now, I've only driven an MG-ZT once in a short test drive, but I've been told that it's, although it looks like a 75 with a sporty 75, it basically has a completely different character. So I'm not sure whether I would like one of those or not, because I do really like the sort of genteel character of the 75. 2001, they gradually started paring back some of the luxuries in the 75. A lot of it you wouldn't really notice. The most notable of which was the dash being changed from real wood to plastic. But unless you know what you're looking for, there really isn't much difference to look at. There's various other little bits and pieces, very small things. They obviously really were desperate to save money wherever they could. facelifted Rover 75 came out in 2004. It had the headlights were all in one piece, different front and rear bumpers, different steering wheel, different gear lever, and the trim options were revised as well. So the connoisseur now no longer came with leather, you could still get it as an option. And there's a new contemporary specification which had some items from the MG range. And in 2005 it was all over. There's some cars that are on up to an 08 plate, and there's a 56 plate ones, late 2006, driving around near to where I live. It's quite unusual. So the 75 has been sort of maligned by kind of non-experts. Some garages won't touch them, they're not keen to work on them, but really the problems that they have are no worse than any other car of its age. I'll discount the 1.8 K-series petrol, that does tend to have head gasket issues, but I suppose by this time they probably all have been sorted out. The V6 versions don't suffer from that. If you're buying a V6, I don't know a lot about the V6, but I do know things like the thermostat can leak. Make sure the belt's done. Again, not the end of the world if it hasn't. So this one and my last one were both diesels. I would love to have the V6 version, but the fuel economy just isn't good at all. This will do an average of 45 miles per gallon. I haven't calculated it myself, but certainly the needle doesn't move very quickly at all. That's good enough for me. So what to watch out for on the diesels? Well, since owning the two, there's common issues. First thing to note though is the diesel, which is a BMW unit M47, turbocharged 4-cylinder, 115 brake horsepower. In this version, the early versions, the facelifted ones, had 131 brake, and you can get a remap for them, taking it up to I think around about 170 brake, which people have reported very good results. Not something I'm going to do. They are very strong engines, very strong indeed. They don't have many major issues that would condemn them to vast mileages. This one's only done, just ticked over to 107,000 this morning. Some of them on the Owners Club are up to 500,000 miles. So the only things to watch out for are if you hear a rattle start up, if you have a lifted down by the driver's side front wheel, that can be the crank pulley. So that's not too expensive a job to get replaced. The other things that can go are the thermostat. Now that happened on this car. The thermostat was stuck open, basically running too cold. Now the thermostat itself, again down near to where the crank pulley is, both of those areas very inaccessible on the 75 diesel. There's not much room between the chassis leg and the engine face. A lot of people, if they're doing it themselves, they jack up the engine, take up all the engine mount, jack up the engine to get some more room. So crank pulley and the thermostat, I think, should probably need both of those actions taken before you can get to them. But the thermostat, it's quite expensive, not a job I want to do, so an accepted, I wouldn't call it a bodge because it's generally accepted, is to fit a Renault 5 inline thermostat on the top radiator hose. Costs about £10 to £15. Not too tricky to fit, a bit time consuming pushing the thermostat down far enough into the radiator hose, but again £15 and that's it, running nice and hot. Heaters are lovely and hot. Starter motors, the solenoids can stick, so you turn the key, nothing happens. Again, you don't need to replace the starter motor. You can buy a repair kit on eBay for £10 to £15. Starter motor is easy to remove. One thing about the diesels is there's loads and loads of room around the front of the engine, between the engine and the radiator, to to work. You get both arms down there very easily, loads of room. So starter motor is easy to take out and rebuild. It comes with instructions. I found it very easy. It took me a couple of hours before breakfast on a Sunday morning. Other areas, sometimes injectors can go. Not the injectors and the leak back pipes. There's various tests you can do to make sure they're working properly. Glow plugs are strong, don't need replacing. The chains on the engines, timing chains, don't need replacing. They all last basically forever. One thing to watch for in the diesels is sometimes if you're looking at one, there can be evidence of oil coming out the dipstick or the filler cap. Now what that means, there's what's called a PCV filter. I think it's pressurised crankcase ventilation or something like that. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a wee filter just at the top of the engine, quite easy to get to, and gets overlooked on services. So it's a good idea to change that. It's about £5, very easy to fix. And also if you're servicing the car, when you're taking the air filter off, it's only a few extra nuts and bolts to get to the PCV filter. So worth doing that as well, very cheap. The only big expense that can really happen on these, and really any manual 75, is the clutch. It's a concentric slave cylinder inside the bell housing, and it's assisted by a master cylinder. It's got a separate master cylinder as well. The problems really start not quite so much with the clutch itself going, which if you go to a specialist who knows the kind of tricks to save on labour, it doesn't cost too much. I was quoted £400 supplied and fitted for a clutch on my last 75. Never went ahead with it, but that was a good enough price. Problems really start if it's fitted by somebody who doesn't know the cars or who fits it carelessly. There's a big debate at the moment whether a metal or OEM plastic slave cylinder is preferable. There's also upgraded master cylinders. There's a company called Tazu that do them. I think generally between the lines is if it's not fitted correctly, it will last a very short space of time. My last 75, no proof of course, but reportedly had the clutch replaced, but the release bearing was whining when you depress the clutch quite noticeably. It wasn't going to last much longer, I don't think. And I think that was as a result of somebody not replacing the clutch correctly. So same with the belts and the V6, you get them done by a specialist, about £250 in labour. If you take it to a garage that doesn't know the cars, they'll just look it up on auto data or something like that, and the book time will be something ridiculous, and they basically won't want to do it. The other thing to watch for in 75s, all of them, are the upper rear suspension arms. They're a pressed design and they're made of mild steel, with inevitable results after a period of time. They support the spring cup well, so if they snap or collapse, you've got extreme negative camber on your rear wheel, and it'll probably rub the inner wheel arch. Again, best done by a specialist because they know how to take them off without having to remove the subframe. I think one of the captive nuts in the subframe shears. A lot of people just think, oh, I need to take the subframe off. You don't need to do that. Get a specialist to do it like that. Is what I did for my last 75. The arms themselves can be expensive, but if you just shop around for them, you might find a pair expensive. Sometimes it can be up to £300 for a pair. But I've seen them on eBay for about £80 each for new old stock. I got my ones of my last 75 for £40. They were brand new, but that was just a stroke of luck. Unfortunately, they went with the car, but good to get them back when the next owner hopefully decides to break the car for spares. So when you're driving it, the clutch will be slightly heavier than other cars, but it should still be smooth and easy to operate. It shouldn't be excessively heavy or anything like that. So just something to look for when you're driving it. This one, I believe, is on its original clutch.